Okay, hello everybody. This is Claude Diamond back in San Diego. Yeah, I know. One week I'm in Colorado or North Carolina. Now I'm back in San Diego here. And a lot of people have been asking me about the recession. Your Uncle Claude's, has been around the block a few times. I've lived through a couple of recessions and inflationary periods. And there's some things that you can do to protect yourself. There are some things, the actual opportunities, if you're well prepared. And this whole dissertation, and feel free to ask me questions if you're on YouTube right now. This conversation, excuse me, is really about protecting yourself, finding the opportunities, and what really is a recession, and how do we deal with it. So let's start with something. And I have a mind map for you guys. And by the way, if you want this mind map, I have notes embedded in them and everything. Give me a call, 970-281-5151. I think it's on that sign back there. And I'll be glad to send it to you. Or send me an email, mentor@mac.com. The recession, what is a recession? Let's start with the basics. Let's talk about that. It's a decline. It's a significant decline in economic activity. It means, we're not the United States steam engine that we always are. Things really slow down. People lose jobs. Companies slow down. They lay off. Car sales are not as robust. People don't take vacations. A lot of people stay home, have mac and cheese. Companies do a lot of layoffs. I think I said that already. So we're going to talk about that a little. Let me go to my mind map here that I made just for you guys. Here, and let me share that with you, and I'm pretty sure you can see the screen there, and just a little mind map. I have notes embedded in there. Well, we defined it's a significant, and I mean significant, decline in economic activity. We're always used to growth and jobs and manufacturing. We're seeing slowdown in delivery and computers right now. Cars, they're charging over sticker price. I don't think they've done that since World War II. So there's obviously there are clues and things going on right now. We're seeing interest rates rise right now. So that's going to affect things too. Let's talk about some of the negatives here of it. Rising interest rates, higher unemployment, rising consumer prices. Have you been to the store lately? I mean, every time you go in for your favorite bottle of Perugino, it goes up 25, 50%. Paper towels, products, meat. Okay, my carnivore friends out there, have you seen what a steak? I mean, so you go to Costco and want to buy a package of 4 steaks, that costs more than my first car. It's getting a little crazy. There will be housing adjustments. Now, this is the wild card here. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in the length of the recession, because that has a lot of psychological impact towards it. The housing, right now we're seeing housing is still rising. There's a supply and demand issue right now. There's still a demand. Supply is limited, but we're seeing that properties in certain communities, Phoenix, one of my clients in Phoenix was just, Ani and Chantel, they were just reporting the other day that the length to sell a home has substantially increased. Used to be you put a property in the MLS or out in the media and you have a bidding war. Right now it's getting 20, 30 days in certain urban areas. So it's taking longer. Absolutely. It really depends. Real estate is going to depend on the length of the recession, how long it's going to be. I have a mind map slide there I'll get to in a second on that. Also, it depends on the culture of the recession. There's a certain malaise, a depression that comes with a recession. People are so sick of rising prices, and their dollar is worth 52 cents instead of $1. They're seeing a lot, there's people get a little downtrodden about the whole thing. Bankruptcies are going to definitely increase. Rental failures, mom and pop, retail failures, mom and pop, small stores, small mom and pop, solopreneur, retail businesses. You're going to see a failure rate. And we've already seen that in the last 2 years with COVID. We might see some more of that now. A lot of people are hanging on with their fingernails right now because of COVID, small restaurants and things like that. this recession is just the final kick in the teeth that nobody really needed. The causation of this, it's usually government spending. They spent way, when you start spending $7 trillion a year, trillion here, trillion there, Senator Edward Dirksen said, you're talking about real money. So we're seeing the result of all that spending, that stimulus spending coming out of COVID. Not being judgmental here, I'm just telling you, you can only spend so much money before people question the value of your gross national product and what you can produce. The people are going to start spending less. They're going to keep their wallets closer to their pocket. Okay. And I said it before, people will lose jobs, and there's going to be a certain malaise out there. You have to overcome that because there are opportunities here. High point on this. There will be opportunities. I've lived through, I've been there, I've done that. I've seen these recessions and depressions and things like that in my lifetime. They always end, by the way. And basically, everybody turns into Chicken Little. The sky is falling and things like that. You have to take a very optimistic attitude. There are definite opportunities. You might see, depending on the length of this, and we're going to get to that in the next slide, the length of this recession, you might see real estate starting to adjust. Finally, right? It's been going on a long time. The last one we had started in 2008 when Obama became the president and took over for Bush. And we saw the bank failures, and it lasted about a year, as I recall. Went right into 2008. We started slowly climbing out of the muck in 2009. And we've had a boom up here till 2022. But mostly you can see by the gas pumps and the prices and everything. I'm in the Soviet Socialist state of Southern California, and gas, what did I pay the other day? I think, was it $6.39, something like that. I've even heard of people paying over $7 a gallon here on the West Coast. That's got to affect, people, families working. It's got to affect their pocketbooks sooner or later. They're going to have to give up things if they're smart. If they want to keep driving their car. Let's talk about the length. Since 1948, average recessions the average recession, I looked this up, since 1948 is 17.5 months. Okay, that's basically almost a year and a half. That's a long time. That's a long time to see the economic climate so despondent. Going down and everything. It could be as short as 6 months. My 2 cents, my prediction is it really depends. And if the Congress is going to take a more fiscal conservative nature, you're seeing your interest rates rise to slow things down a little bit. But Congress has to cut spending. And that's usually what a conservative, and we'll see that at the next election. If it's a more of a conservative people representing us in Congress and the Senate, you're going and the executive branch in 2024, you're going to see it slow down. But we're still only in the middle here of 2022, and we're starting to see the effects of what's going on with these higher prices, lower supplies. You ever try to buy a computer right now? Oh my God, it's a waiting list of months to get a computer. So there's supply chain problems also. This could mean, in my opinion, at least a 1 year recession, could be longer. It really depends. This is where it really will depend on the politics. And if our representatives can show some maturity and cut back frivolous spending, okay, we don't need to know about the sex life of an anteater. I'm sorry for my anteater friends out there, but they need to cut back on frivolous spending, garbage spending, which our Congress is famous for. You can't spend $7 trillion a year when you're not taking in that much. You go into debt. Okay, you've always heard about that, and that's the money we owe. And the money we owe, we pay interest on it, and it accumulates. You couldn't run your family the way the government runs our country sometimes, could you? Let's keep going here. So length of recession could be 6 months. God, oh, that would be great. But it could go as much as a year and a half. Couple ideas here. Get rid of the stuff you don't use. Okay, things you don't need. Get rid of stuff that takes up space. Sell it. Put it on eBay or something. Find yourself another other areas of income. Sell things. Clear house. It's a good time to lower expenses, lower your utilities, things like that. It's a time to look back and say, where can we save money? Where can we really cut back? So get rid of stuff you don't need. Don't buy stuff you don't need. Think about it sometimes. Do you really need another big screen TV? Well, maybe you do. Do you really need another cell phone when your cell phone is working perfectly well? Do you need you got a good running car? Do you really need to trade it in and buy a new car when your car will last a couple 100,000 miles or a few more years of value out of it? This is the time to tighten your belt. Okay. Debt free. Oh, this is a big one. I don't care if it's good times or bad. Be debt free. Get rid of debts, especially consumer credit card debt. You guys know what I'm talking about. Protect your credit too, by the way. Strong credit is really important. There's going to be opportunities during a recession. You're going to find great real estate deals out there. If this thing goes for 6 to 12 to 18 months, people are going to need money. They're going to sell their homes. Prices, it's going to get competitive and prices are going to drop. Are you prepared in terms of your down payment, your credit? Do you have lease purchase strategies? Do you know about subject to? Can you wholesale? Are you prepared for the wonderful opportunity? What do smart investors do during a recession? What would Warren Buffett do right now? What does he do? He buys. He's getting ready. He's accumulating. I'm sure he's got, I don't know. I don't have a direct line to Warren, but if I was a fly on the wall, I bet you right now he's accumulating capital to take and looking for opportunities as this recession goes into effect. That's what he did in 2008. I'm sure he'll do it again. He picks up bargains, and that's what you can do. There's great opportunities now for long-term rewards and passive income. But get debt free. If you give up going out to dinner or little things like that, if you can use that money to pay off that, get rid of that MasterCard, Visa, Discover, American Express interest rates of 18 to 28%, whatever it is, and get rid of that. That's why banks have big buildings in towns, right? You ever wonder, how can they afford to have all the fraud and everything on credit cards? It's because they're making so much money on the interest. Learn to pay if you don't have the money to pay it off at the end of the month. I sound like your grandfather now, don't I? If you don't have the money to pay off the bills at the end of the month, then don't buy it. It's common sense. Absolutely. You got to keep hustling. It's always, I'm the author and the creator of the gut sales method. I'm always hustling. What do I mean by hustling? Some people have a negative connotation to it. It means that I go out there, I knock on doors. I don't knock on doors. I pick up the phone. I call people. I do daily marketing. I talk to people. Good times or bad, you can still make money. Maybe you'll have to hustle a little bit more. Hustling, what does that mean? Stimulate. You've got to, shake the trees to get some leaves. You got to make things happen. Don't sit back and listen to all the negative out there. In fact, I have a slide on that too. Develop passive income. Okay. Passive supplemental income can save your life in a recession. That's monies that come in from an alternative source, savings, rental properties. Okay. If you have a rental property that you bought a couple years ago, I guarantee you've probably reaped 25 to 100% doubled in value over the last couple of years. If you're renting that property out and your mortgage is $1,000, but you're renting it out for $2,000 or $2,500, you're putting that extra $1,000 to $1,500 a month in your pocket. That could be a lifesaver in a recession. Alternative supplemental income. If you Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about just take the junk out of your garage and take pictures and throw it on eBay or use Facebook Marketplace. Sell the junk that's been sitting in a corner, your old golf clubs, tennis rackets, ice skates, bicycles, things like that. Sell that stuff if you're not using it. And take that cash and use it to remove debt or save that money for a rainy day. Take the stuff take the stuff that's just dead space and get rid of it. Okay, common sense stuff here, isn't it? Negativity. You're going to hear a lot of negativity in the media. I talked about this earlier. Psychologically, a recession has a devastating effect on people. They start to worry a lot more. There's a lot of insecurity. People are losing their jobs. The money is not going as far. They're not taking the vacation to Thanksgiving to grandma and grandpa's house anymore. Okay. They're driving more, except now driving is costing more than flying in some cases. So you're going to put a restraint, turn off the TV or your podcast or whatever, because you're going to hear a lot of negativity on the recession. And the thing about it is to remain positive. It will end. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of things you can do during a recession when everybody is Chicken Little and losing their head. Don't get sucked into that negative vortex. There are a lot of positive things that you can do to come out ahead and come out much earlier than the people who are just crying in their oatmeal all day long. Study finance. Learn about finance. Okay, learn about interest rates, mortgage rates, learn about how banks work, how the Fed works. Study these things. How does the one thing we don't teach in school is how does money work? How do we become in this great country, the greatest country of all time, the United States of America, how do we become financially free, successful? How do we have that lifestyle where we're free? Do you ever go to bed and worry about money? I've been there, okay? The greatest thing is to have more than you need and to live beneath your means. So study math, study finance, learn about supply and demand, study economic trends, look back to other recessions. We have a wealth of information on the internet. Look for people who have like Kiplinger's Wall Street Journal. Look for places that have really quality information, not emotional diatribe. When people get emotional, it's not good stuff to read. Look for factual information from people who have a right to teach, okay? Let's stay positive. I said this before, but it's worth saying again. You've got to stay positive during a recession. Recession, I've been through these. They knock you out with this stuff. Okay, all you hear is negativity. This company laid off. This company fired people. This company closed their plant. These prices went up. You're going to hear a lot of the stuff like that. And you have to think positive, talk positive, feel positive. You got to be your own cheerleader in life. This thing will end. It will end. I'm talking about this today because I want you to be prepared. I want you to know what's coming. I haven't felt this way since 2007. In 2007, around that time, my wife and I sold a lot of the properties that we didn't need anymore. We're real estate investors. I'm also the author of the Gut Sales Method, ClaudeDiamond.com, if you want to find out more about me or watch some of my YouTube videos. I like to talk about money and success and what you need. But we sold a lot of real estate condos and homes and properties that we didn't need. We kept the good stuff. We got rid of the garbage stuff. We had a nest egg. We had capital. We had money. And with that money, when the opportunities became present, we could take advantage of it. That's the way you've got to be thinking. The benefits, some of the benefits here are that you're going to have a lot less competition. My real estate agent friends know that once a recession starts, all those everybody and their brother has a real estate license right now. Watch what happens when real estate dries up or slows down. When people will probably be holding on to their properties. In the beginning, this is what happens. They don't want to drop their prices, so they just take it off the market and hold it and think hopefully that it's a 6-month recession, which I told you early on. I think this is going to be a minimum 1 year. It could be as long as 18 months. And that's why I want you to be prepared. You're going to see a lot of less competition. So if you are a realtor, that's great. You're going to have a lot less competition. People are still going to buy homes. They're still going to sell homes, but it's going to be a different type of marketplace than what you've been experiencing in the last couple of years. Same for you, my investor friends out there. You're going to have a lot less competition. People are going to go back to flipping their burgers and stuff. Like we saw a place, $17 an hour at a Wendy's. They signed to hire people. $17 an hour to run a French fry machine. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? But you're going to find there are benefits in a recession, a lot less competition. So if you are a true professional, if you're using guts attraction marketing, if you're using the psychology of gut sales, you'll do fine. It's all about, are you a good persuader and a great marketer? You'll survive very well through a recession if you have the skill set. If you want to learn more about that, give me a call. I answer my own phone, 970-281-5151, or go to my webpage. I've got free stuff there on how to be how to think and act and sound like a millionaire salesperson. Keep the car, the appliances, keep them a little bit longer. You don't have to buy a new car every 2 years or a year or whatever you do. You don't have to buy a new computer or a new iPhone every year. I know they want you to trade in and do that. You can keep these things. You know, when you buy a new phone and you finance it through your provider, your Verizon or whatever, you're paying interest on a lot of that stuff, aren't you? Make sure if you got a good phone and it works, hell, it's still a phone, right? I know we want to play our games and stuff and everything else, but it still works. Maybe keep it an extra 6 months to a year. Save your money. Absolutely. Go without stuff. You don't need everything. You don't have to go out to dinner 3-4 times. I know during the COVID, a lot of us did not go out to dinner, and people are starting to go out again and do things. But you know what? You can go, you can have mac and cheese at home and save yourself $100, $200, $300. A steak dinner today at Ruth Chris. My wife and I will go out. It's about what, $300, hon? With a bottle of wine. I mean, you know, and tip and everything else like that. That's $300 you could use to pay off, lower your mortgage, pay off your MasterCard, get ahead 1 month on your car payments. Pay, you know, if it's June, pay off July's payment. Give yourself a little breathing room. Live beneath your means. Okay, we've got a poor soul here in a cardboard box. You don't have to. Sometimes you can do without things. You can live beneath your means. If you have $1, spend 75 cents and save the quarter, okay, for a rainy day. Just because you have $1 or you have credit for $1.50 doesn't mean you have to use it. Live beneath your means. Check your monthly bills. My wife and I did this several times. We looked at over the bills on the month, subscriptions and things we didn't need anymore. We cut them out. Go over your phone bill if you still have a landline, or can you get a better program? Do you really need everything on your cable system? Do you really need all those different channels and things like that? Check your monthly bills. It's amazing. If you go line by line on your monthly bills, I guarantee you could save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the course of the years. So look at the things you don't need that you can cancel and get rid of them. Get rid of them today by just sitting down. Have an emergency fund. I got good advice. I have a great financial advisor. First thing he said to us when we started with him about 20-something years ago, he said, make sure you have 6 months of reserve income. God forbid you lose a job, somebody becomes ill or something like that. Do you have 6 months of money to live on? Okay. And that's just common sense. I still have a change jar, by the way. That's why I did this. It's from my old days when I had more month than money. I used to go in the couch, old jackets, in the car seat, in the ashtray, looking for coins, you know. So that was how bad things can get sometimes. So I still have a change jar, and I always throw my loose change in. And once every year or two, I go take it to the bank, and it's a lot of money. It does add up. Look for bargains. As this recession goes, not in the beginning, people are going to hang tight, especially in real estate. In the beginning, hang there, but there will be bargains in real estate if this goes past 6 months. After the first 3 to 6 months, you're going to see real estate start to adjust, longer listing periods. Prices will eventually become competitive because people want to sell the home, but there's a much smaller market for buyers because interest rates are going to go. You can see it right now. Interest rates are slowly creeping up a quarter point every time that you blink, and they're going to get higher and higher. I still think historically the interest rates are very low, by the way, but the prices of properties are way too high. There's definitely going to be a need for an adjustment when this recession hits, and probably after 6 months. People need money, and they got too much money tied into their housing, and what they're going to, and there's fewer buyers. So what you're going to see, it's competitive, and they're going to drop their prices to finally sell it. And that's where you can pick up bargains, good homes, good neighborhoods, make lease purchase. Creative real estate offers during a recession is wonderful. This is the time when you can pick up great deals. So a good home in a good neighborhood, it's near a good school district, it's near public transportation, it's near the college, it's near some kind of recreational area where people like to live. Those are the properties that will recover after this 1.5-year recession. They will recover first. So the property you picked up, for example, for $100,000, that used to be $200,000 and it dropped to $100,000, that property will recover $150,000, $175,000, $200,000. Once again, the recession is over because demand will pick up. once again, if we have a mature Congress. I got a little political there earlier. So this is my mind map here. My name is Claude Diamond. I've had my own business for 32 years. I've written books about the gut sales method. I think it's persuasion and influence, understanding the psychology of why people buy things, why they should buy things from us, and putting it together with science and art can keep you free working from home the rest of your life. I'm living proof of it. I'm nobody special, but I had a great mentor. By the way, I do mentor people. I have an opening. I have one opening for July. So if anyone wants to call me, I only work one-on-one, so I don't have a lot of openings. But if you want to call me and have a mentor who can show you how to make more money in 1 month than most people make in year or years, my job is to shorten the learning curve and get you there personally one-on-one. I'm not going to hand you off to some VA or give you a lot of busy work or have you do crazy stuff, okay? My job is to teach you how to be a persuader. You ever notice how some people make so much money in companies, the 1%ers, I call them? That's because they know how to communicate. They know how to get their point across. People like them. They trust them. There's a skill to this. There's an art form. And I've written books and I teach it one-on-one and I practice with people. And you should learn this skill because recession, depression, inflation, it doesn't really matter. By the way, inflation, government's saying 8.6%. I'll tell you right now, in my opinion, it's probably closer to 11% right now. Government is always months behind. You guys know, you go to the supermarket, you see where your 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon is costing. Things like that are going up in price. And that's inflation, and it's getting higher and higher. It's double digits right now. Take my word for it. And you've got to prepare for that. And the things we talked about here, if you want this mind map, give me a call, mentor or 970-281-5151, or send me an email, mentor@mac, or go to claudediamond.com. Because as I always say to you good people out there, no one deserves success more than you. We're going through economic change. Many of you younger people have not experienced this. It's not fun. It's negative. It's depressing. Don't turn on the news. But there are solutions, and you can come and you can survive, and you can come out ahead of this thing if you're prepared right now. Thank you for joining me. Take care.